Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. Cory here. And this is just going to be sort of a catch-up video. I already tried to record this once, and it went off on this tangent. I don't know what's going on with my brain today. But we're re-recording it. We're going to speed it up, and we're going to get to the point. All right? First point, where the hell have I been? So the second half of 2019 has been me starting every video going, hey, it's been a hot minute since I've recorded a video. Y'all. I know. So going forward, a lot has been happening in my house. So ever since the crash, there's been quite a bit of turmoil. We've had a lot of turmoil dealing with doctors, physical therapy, just appointments galore. So many appointments, so many. And also just insurance companies, attorneys. 8 months of this and I'm done. I'm over it. Super over it. I'm ready to move on. So ready. With all of that going on, there's also been a lot of turmoil in my muggle job. Okay, we had somebody on our team leave. We had someone on our team leave in November. See, it's been so chaotic, I can't speak anymore. Someone on our project team left last month. It's been nuts since then. It was already nuts before she left. Now things have gotten decidedly worse. Things have gotten decidedly more busy. I love the folks that I work with, but also with what happened back in April, this car accident, I was already moving away from this career that I've built up for 11 years. I had my 5-year anniversary at this place, December 1st, right? And what has really come to light for me, especially in the past 2 to 3 months, is that one, with all of this turmoil, going back to work full time and what's been happening at work, I don't feel supported anymore. And that's not really any one person's particular fault. When it comes to my regular 9-to-5 job, I've really outgrown it. I've outgrown my career. Sometimes you just hit a point where it's time to move on. And that time for me, I think, has not only arrived, but it's like I probably should have been out the door months ago. I didn't leave because I need insurance. It's a nice thing to have, right? Especially while you're going through all of these medical issues. And I'm not fully healed yet. Still have a lot of work to do. And, I'm the breadwinner for the family. And I live in a town where most folks are put in a position where they have to live to work rather than work to live. And what I mean by that is you're stretched pretty thin because cost of living is so high. And I realized a little while ago, I didn't want my life to look the way that my parents' lives looked, which was working 24/7, living paycheck to paycheck, worrying about where the money for the next bill was going to come from. I didn't want to be in that position, and yet I've put myself in that position. And, as much as I don't want to leave this town, if I want to have the life that I want to have, that's what's going to have to happen. So we're working on that. And the last 2 months have been physical therapy, doctor's appointments, work. Physical therapy, doctor's appointments, work. Going into work, logging in the morning, trying to catch up on some emails, get things done, leave, drive into work, get in the building, working so much that I've got a colleague go out and pick up lunch, or we do Uber Eats something to get it to arrive at the place so I don't have to go out and get it. Eating at my desk, scrambling to leave between 4:30 and 5 so I can make it to pick up my kids. I also have an hour plus commute to work every day, one way, and then that amount of time back. Pick up the kids, get home, do homework, eat dinner, get all of that stuff going on. Try and spend some time with them, usually reading because of the reading challenges that they have. They're in 2nd and 3rd grade. Get all of that done. Give my husband a kiss, say hi. Have the kids go upstairs, get into the bathtub, and then I'm logging back on. Checking more emails, sending last minute things out, looking at a queue. You guys, this isn't the life that I want anymore, and I have to live it. I don't exactly have a choice at this moment in time. I can't turn in my badge tomorrow and be like, adios. So just know that I think about you guys often. I think about this channel often. I think about the 1,400 people following me on Instagram as well, and, making time, posting there. It's been a difficult road, to the point where I almost quit my Temple of Witchcraft studies about 2 weeks ago. In fact, I have a checkup that's due tomorrow that I have to send, and we'll be honest, I'll probably be sending it tomorrow, the day that it's due. It's things have gotten decidedly rougher. You can see the chaos in my office. There's boxes everywhere. We celebrate Christmas in this house. We're a dual faith household, so the holidays have already been chaotic. It's been nuts. But I've spoken to my husband. We've talked as a family about making time for this stuff. So what is this channel going to look like going forward? Well, first big thing that I want to tell you guys about, I'm not doing 31 Days of Tarot this year. I know, right? I've done 31 Days of Tarot. This is Ethany's challenge. If you guys don't follow her, I will link her channel down below. She's freaking amazing. You should be subscribed to her channel. I have been taking part in the 31 Days of Tarot challenge every January for the last 3 years. The last 2 years have been on YouTube. The year before that, I did it, I did 2017 on Instagram rather than doing it on the YouTube channel. However, this year, I can't do it, you guys. There's just so much that I want to talk about, so much going on. I had to choose. I had to cut some stuff. So as painful as it is, that's what's getting cut. And I encourage you guys that if you have time, you want to participate, please, please, please do. You just won't see any 31 Days of Tarot videos on this channel starting on the 1st. Instead, what I'm doing, I'm following up on the goal that I had way back in June, and finally getting around to putting that into practice. So what I want to do, what I've been dying to do for months now, is a ton of indie book reviews. I want to talk about really, really fantastic indie book publishers, occult indie book publishers who aren't getting a lot of attention. I want to talk about these books because you guys, these books are freaking amazing, okay? So since the video that I put out in June, I went back. I bought A Rose Veiled in Black, which you guys saw me scroll through, talk about. Since that video, I bought 2 books. Two books from Aeon Sophia Press. I want to talk about these guys. I've also been in contact with Aeon Sophia Press. This is kind of the most recent development. They sent me a shit ton of books. And books that I had been like on my wish list for since before I did that video in June, and have been dying to get my hands on. I just hadn't been able to pick them up yet. And some of these, had decidedly, been in stock, then out of stock. Like I didn't know how to get my hands on them. So they sent these to me, and holy shit, you guys, the quality of these books. I mean, look at this. They're so beautiful. Now, these 2 I bought with my own money. Okay, I purchased these 2. And then they sent me the ones that I'm looking at right now. You guys, I cannot wait to talk about these books with you. Holy shit. Yeah. They're amazing. And I want to, so here's what I want to do. Yes. Do I want to do individual book reviews? Abso-freaking-lutely. But I also want to do individual videos talking about the publisher specifically, my experience ordering from them, my experience, getting the books, the quality of the books that they're putting out, not just the quality of the books themselves, like the printing and the binding, etc., but also the manuscripts that they're choosing to print. Like the authors that they're working with, not necessarily really being judgmental about quality of content, because a lot of these are different magical systems and opinions, and who am I to say that one's more valid or has a higher quality than another? That seems really awful. Rather, I want to do a breakdown of like, hey, if you're interested in these topics, you need to go talk to these guys, right? If you want really juicy stuff about the left-hand paths, you need to, check out these guys. You need to check out Aeon Sophia Press. You need to, if you're looking for more traditional British witchcraft, you got to look at Troy Books. If you're wanting to, pick up some really like amazing periodicals, like Pillars from, oh God, I'm going to butcher these names. Anathema Press. Don't hate me, guys. Long story short, I want to do spotlights on all of these different indie presses, talk to you guys about the type of books that they publish, the type of manuscripts that they look at, the quality of the books themselves, price point where they're shipping from, so you can get a realistic expectation of what you're paying shipping wise here in the US ordering. Because I hate to say this, but a lot of the most amazing, best indie presses right now aren't in the freaking US. And it's because printing in the US is super expensive. Like, Three Hands Press does a fucking amazing job, but, it's expensive, right? And the quality of these books, you guys, these are books. Let me just show you here. So I bought this. This is the Brazen Vessel. This is from Scarlet Imprint. This is a anthology, really, a compilation of, and I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm sorry, you guys. Alkistis Demek. I'm sorry, honey. Please don't hate me. And Peter Gray. This is a culmination. It's a collection of works that they did from 2008 to 2018. So a decade of work. And this is so beautiful. The copper, slip cover, the beautiful red cloth cover of this hardback, you guys. These really juicy cream end papers, the red ribbon, just this, it's beautiful. Oh my God, and I'm not on camera, sorry. These are beautiful heirloom books. This is stuff that you're going to keep for years. This is an investment, but these are worth it, you guys. So worth it. Oh my God, this one, I don't even know where to begin with this. Aeon Sophia Press, Saturn Rising. This is my baby. Oh my God. Look at this gold foil, you guys. This leather book, and just, I'm already feeling like I shouldn't be touching this, my hands. Ugh. Matte black end papers, and just the cream, like, y'all. This is stunning. And my kids are not allowed anywhere near these books. They're not. I have a special shelf for these. This is one of those, no, like in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. My river of chocolate must not be touched by human hands. I almost don't want to read these because they're so beautiful. But yes, they will be read. We will be talking about them. But I want to talk more about what Aeon Sophia Press and other Troy books with their what's the word that I'm looking for? Their Black series. Jesus, how did I forget about that? Different periodicals that they're putting out, or journals, collection of works. So Aeon Sophia Press has The 13th Path, which they just came out with their first edition. I'm reading that. I want to get Anathema Press's Pillars, read that. This is a collection, actually. A Rose Veiled in Black isn't written by one author. This is Arcana and Art of Our Lady Babylon. And I know that more small presses like to do these collections of essays and works, and I really want to dive into those, get to know them, talk to you guys about them, talk about the different books that folks are releasing, what makes this a good investment, if you're into occult books. To me, someone who is a collector, someone who really values not just the quality of the content of the books and the manuscript, but also, wants to invest in a really solid book like that. Like, this is going to last for generations. I mean, if I take excellent care of this, this is something that's going to be passed down for years and years and years, y'all. This book, with proper care, is an heirloom, right? And so that's what I want to invest, my time and money in. And if you're like me, I think you're interested in stuff like this too. But at the same time, there are like no book reviews out here on this stuff. I was trying to look for YouTube videos, about these books before I bought them. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to drop $80, I'm going to drop $225. This guy right here. What are everybody else's thoughts on these books? I've come up dry, you guys. There might be snippets here and there, and there's not really a whole lot. Not a lot out there. And that's kind of the direction that I want to take this channel. I want to talk about books. I want to talk about what's in these books. I want to talk about all of these different presses, do a spotlight on them as well as individual book reviews. So that's a big change coming to this channel for 2020, is doing these deep dives. I do kind of want to talk about my Temple of Witchcraft studies, but honestly, I want that to be just something for me. Right? I think I talk enough about Chris Penzak's books on this channel. It's like beating a dead horse. You guys know that I recommend pretty much anything he's ever written. The man has written like over 25 books on magic over the years. And if you practice magic and you don't own or have read at least one book from Chris Penzak, I really don't know what you're doing with your life. We're just going to be blunt about it, okay? His stuff is amazing. There's a reason why I've decided to study with the Temple. But I've really struggled with keeping up with those activities and studies. And it's between me and the Temple. So that's it. This is probably the last time you're going to hear me mention it until I graduate. And then just tell you what the year has been like. Maybe do like a little sum up video of like, hey, maybe this is what I learned. Obviously, I can't go into detail because it's proprietary, but I had planned on doing at least little snippet videos of like, here's how I'm feeling, or this is what, my thoughts are on Inner Temple of Witchcraft now that, I'm using it as a textbook as opposed to just kind of reading it through like I did 10 years ago. And I don't want to do that. I've just decided I've changed my mind. Temple of Witchcraft is going to be just something for me in my own personal practice, and that's the end of that. Depth year. Holy shit. So y'all know I just kind of fell off the wagon with that. Oh, well. I do want to do some things that are pretty kind of depth year related for 2020. I'm not going to be posting them on this channel. So that's another one where it's like, hey, I'm just going to keep this for me. We're not really going to be publicly posting about it. If you have any questions, I guess feel free to ask. I'm always here. I'm always available, but I don't want to do any videos on it. So in addition to the books, like what else are we going to be talking about, right? Or is it only going to be book videos? No, it's not only going to be book videos, okay? I do want to keep going with my Metaphysical Musings videos. I want to talk about different topics that are related to our community. There have been topics that I've been trying to write outlines for a while. I want to talk about aesthetic witchcraft and the commercialization of witchcraft. I want to talk about white supremacy in pagan communities. Woo! We got heavy. Yeah. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about, as a white person, doing necessary ancestral work to help do our part for me to help do my part in dismantling systemic systems of white supremacy, especially here in the United States. Working on healing ancestral wounds related to my ancestors and their colonization of this continent. I want to talk about the folks that I've been following to do anti-racism work and how that pertains to pagan communities, including cultural appropriation and the difference between cultural appreciation in a magical context and co-opting and appropriating practices from other cultures and kind of passing them off as Wiccan. Super heavy, deep shit that I'm sure make a lot of people uncomfortable to talk about, but these are things that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time now, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to go about them. But just know that they're coming. Know that these topics are something that I've been actively doing shadow work on and have been working on privately, and Spirit has been calling me to talk about them publicly. So we're just kind of going to leave it at that. We're also going to talk about some stuff that's not so super heavy. You know, I want to talk about the fact that my husband and I, for the last couple weeks, we've been watching Hellier on Amazon. Holy shit, if you're not watching that show, go watch it. And, you know, decidedly paranormal and occult shows, especially real shit like that. What Greg and Dana Newkirk are doing, holy cow, when is season 3 coming out? That's all I have to say for right now. But I want to do an entire video on my thoughts as a practicing witch and watching Hellier and what's essentially kind of a global initiation happening with that show. Yeah, want to talk about it. Also want to do videos on, like, you know, thoughts on other cultural stuff. I'm pointing to, you know, my top shelf up here because I have a Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Funko Pop doll up there on the top shelf. So having like hey, let's talk about Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and, you know, as a witch, how witchcraft is portrayed in the show and, you know, what's going on with this. How do we feel about it? Talk about The Witcher and video games and, you know, magic and witchcraft and just all sorts of fun stuff. Even talking about Star Wars and the Force and, you know, how that stuff relates to and influences modern magical practices. Because I think that's some fun shit to dive into. So I've been playing around with a lot of this stuff, different ideas. I have like a whole laundry list of ideas at this point. So just know that some fun stuff is coming along with the really deep shadow work stuff. And, you know, something else that's decidedly fun, books, you know, because I just fucking love talking about books. Okay. And I'm also super magically nosy. So I have a lot of books here that you're like, okay, Cory, you're a pagan. I've actually been, probably the best way to describe me is that I'm this Celtic, not necessarily Celtic, just an eclectic solitary Wiccan. All right, that's what I've been for the last 20 years. Ever since I've started down on this path in 1999. And while I describe myself as a witch and a pagan, you know, I've pulled from different practices in my ancestry, as well as practices that are decidedly modern. You know, created, pulled out of thin air, whatever have you, polished off, repackaged in the last 60, 70 years. And a lot of it stems from, a lot of modern magical practice has roots in the Golden Dawn, Hermetic traditions, magic from the Key of Solomon. Everybody borrows from that book. And I also want to talk about, all of these really old magical systems and traditions, the similarities from what's been done then to what's being done now, what's changed, what we've kind of dusted off, repackaged, and, presented as new shit. And what has just, we've kept around for the sake of tradition that maybe doesn't necessarily work anymore. And so I want to dig into this old stuff. Most folks cite Crowley, they cite Waite. If we're talking about Wicca, because its roots are taken from Golden Dawn traditions. It's the reality of the situation. And a lot of practices today have also really just jacked stuff from different shamanic practices across the globe. So it's this weird hodgepodge stitched together kind of quilted blanket of a thing. And so I want to look at the individual roots and where this stuff comes from. And the fact that the Golden Dawn, Thelema, Aleister Crowley, he jacked stuff from, African traditions, ancient Egypt. Which is why we need to talk about the colonization, the white supremacy, and all that stuff, okay? But I want to look at the more ancient aspects, Babylon, Mesopotamia, how these incarnations have evolved with each society brought to what we're looking at today. Is it still relevant? Is it still stuff we want to talk about? And then also talk about modern practices as well, and different practices. I want to, explore and read more about American Appalachian folk magic. Want to read more about Southern conjuring. Want to read more about these decidedly Luciferian traditions, and what everybody on the other side of the magical aisle is doing. Because while I may not practice or follow any of these paths or theologies, practice or work inside any of these magical systems, or every single one of these magical systems, there's still stuff to learn from it. Even if the only thing that you learned was that it wasn't the right thing for you, well, now you know. Now you have that information. You know what's there, what folks inside these circles are doing, what they're practicing. And you're not just kind of disregarding it offhand. You know what I mean? If that makes a lot of sense. So, that's kind of where I'm coming from. And again, it's going to take me forever to get through this book, but we're going to do it, and we're going to talk about it. Okay? Just know that some of these books aren't the smallest of books. And going into 2020, it may take me a while to get through a lot of these. You saw how big the brazen vessel was, and looking at some others here who were pretty large. It's going to take me a hot minute to get through these, but I want to talk about them. We will freaking talk about them. And I'm carving time out of my day to read these books, to look at these different systems, break them down, have really thoughtful discussions about them, and share them over video with you guys. So this was a huge rambly, so much for me just cutting to the chase and doing a quick update. Sorry, y'all. There was just a lot to catch up on. And it feels good to talk to you guys again because I haven't made time to get in here and record. My office was also kind of taken over right after Thanksgiving as the gift wrapping room because my husband uses the closet behind me as like a Christmas gift storage closet for the whole year because we do buy stuff throughout the entire year. So we're not just all of a sudden dropping a ton of money in one month. We slowly accumulate things throughout the year and they get stored in that closet. So right after Thanksgiving, stuff starts getting pulled out. The wrapping paper gets pulled out. There's still a box behind me over here of stuff that needs to get wrapped. Little boxes over here sitting in that chair that need to get wrapped. That chair is sitting there because a couple weeks ago, Jason's grandfather passed away. And we're also dealing with that and the aftermath of that. Now, don't feel sad, okay? Grandpa had a really good life. He was 90. He had been saying for months he was ready to go. He just comes from a really strong, hardy stock, and it took a long while to get there. But this was as much as it hurts, right, to lose any loved one, no matter how much time you have with someone, it always seems like it's not enough, right? And so as much as it hurts, I'm going to try really, really hard not to like sob on camera and keep it together for you guys. He was ready. And yeah, he was ready, and this is a natural cycle. And wherever his spirit resides now is where it's supposed to be. All right? So we're just going to leave it at that. Oh, we're also going to talk about D&D on this channel because, and not David and Dan, whoever decided to brand those two as D&D, I'm like, no, D&D was established in the 70s. It is frickin' Dungeons and Dragons. You cannot co-op D&D. We're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons because I've been playing it with my nephews again. And I say my nephews, they're in their 20s. I have older nephews. We've been playing it, and I want to talk about that too. And also how it influences modern magic. So lots of stuff that we'll talk about, some of it cultural, some of it super deep, and some of it just, you know, nuts and bolts of different magical systems. So that's what's coming. I have been working on healing and family stuff. That's why I've been MIA. More stuff's coming. I think the first small press that I want to spotlight is Aeon Sophia Press. Okay, we'll be talking about these guys first, since they've sent me all of these wonderful, fantastic, awesome books. And I've been reading them and, you know, spending some time with them. So we'll start with them, and then the next publisher that I want to talk about after them is Scarlet Imprint. So we'll kind of go in the order of the most books that I have. And as I start ordering from more smaller indie publishers, you know, we'll then do spotlights on them. For publishers that I only have one book from, I don't know that it's necessarily fair to do a spotlight with just one book. So we'll read it, I'll order some more books, and then we'll start talking about them. But that's not going to stop me from doing like a book review. Okay. So I'm not going to wait until I have more books from Three Hands Press to be like, okay, now we'll do a book review on A Rose Veiled in Black, because I also don't want it to be sold out by the time we get around to doing the spotlight. So individual book reviews will be sprinkled throughout those publisher spotlights, okay? But we'll start with volume first. And the press that I have the most books from now is Aeon Sophia Press. So we will start with them and then move on to Scarlet Imprint, okay? So that was it. Wanted to catch you guys up. More videos coming about books, about Hellier, about lots of stuff. And I really hope that you guys enjoy it. But that's what's coming in 2020. And yeah, it's all subject to change. All right. But that's the game plan as of today. I hope that wherever you guys are, you are having a wonderful Yule. You're having a wonderful Hanukkah. If you happen to be watching this on Monday, God, I hope I can post this today. Maybe it'll get posted on Monday. So then, yes, absolutely happy. Happy Christmas if you guys celebrate that, you know, early. Happy winter. I don't know. Happy week. Happy end of 2019, because holy shit, this year needs to just get the hell out the door, and we need 2020 to get here ASAP. That's all I'm saying. All right, y'all. I hope that wherever you are, you're having a fabulous, fabulous day, and cannot wait to see you in the next video. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on all of this good, fun stuff. And very much hope to see you in that next video. Until then, lovelies, blessed be.